Good morning, everyone. We are all too familiar with these scenes behind me. Piles of debris, lumber, siding, bricks. It is what is left of homes in tornado-torn communities this week. For some people, coming to terms with this kind of loss is just the first step in what will be a very long recovery. But there is help, but you need to know how to ask and what questions you need to ask and answer. Gerard Hammock is a media relations specialist for FEMA, the Federal Emergency Management Agency. He's joining us at the table this morning. Thanks so much for joining us. We appreciate this.
You're welcome. I'm glad to be here to help try to share some information about how FEMA can help. It's part in the whole recovery process.
One of the things you and I spoke about briefly before we came on is that you are accustomed in your line of work of meeting people when they're really at their lowest. In many cases, you're going to meet with people who've lost everything. And so they are looking to you, not just for words of comfort, but how am I going to get through this?
Right, and as you just said, it takes time, and so one of the things I would just try to help people to understand is that there are going to be different steps in the process. I'm going to share, with you,
Sure.
how people can apply for assistance.
Okay.
But that initial application is really just the first step.
Okay.
Because it's getting your basic information
Right.
into FEMA's system, and then as things move forward with individuals and families, and with FEMA and the state, there's going to be different options,
Okay.
and different than maybe, and then there's always updates,
Okay.
and that people need to give.
And someone is going to be there with them every step of the way for all of this to help them through the process.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
Let's get started with why do people need to apply? Why do they need to come to FEMA first of all to begin the process?
well, for instance, if someone has registered their damage with the county, that's great, but that's a separate system and that's not FEMA.
Okay.
So that's one reason to apply with FEMA. I'll just quickly give disasterassistance.gov. Hopefully that's easy to remember.
We'll have that up. There we go. We got it for you.
Yeah,
Plus
and
there's
then-
the 1-800 number.
And 800-621-3362. But here's some of the basic options.
Okay.
If for uninsured losses, FEMA might be able to help with that.
Okay.
Also final insurance claim, but for uninsured losses, FEMA might be able to help with some repairs. Then we're also talking about, and it's still early, but people are already worried about this. And FEMA, there are different options that are going to be, that they're considering, but temporary housing.
Okay.
So I don't know what those those options are going to be at this point, but once you're registered, once you made that application,
Okay.
then then your information is in FEMA's system, and we can work with
Find
you.
out with what works best
And
for
then the
you.
other thing is just even longer term, and just everyone's situation is different.
Right.
I just want to mention there's also going to be low interest disaster loans. Those help a lot of people
Right.
a lot.
So
everyone's situation is different, but
right, there's no formula for everybody that you're
Right.
going to follow.
Right.
So what is the process for? You mentioned the website, you mentioned the phone number. What do people do once they get on the site or once they got someone on the phone? And
Yeah,
here's another important question. Are they going to talk to a person on the phone?
yes,
Okay.
if they call 800-621-3362, they do talk to someone
Okay.
on the phone who's going to take their information.
Okay. What sort of
For
information?
instance, their the basic contact information,
Okay.
your phone number, where you are staying, because many people have been displaced.
Right.
But also the address where you lived, if you were displaced, and your social security number, and your bank account information, if you want to provide that for direct deposit. I just want to say, in general, be hesitant about giving your social security number
Sure.
to people, but in this instance, when you call FEMA and you are applying with FEMA,
You are dealing with the federal
yeah,
government. At that point, you're
you-
probably going to be safe.
yeah, we just need to get that basic information from you.
All right. Once that basic information is into the system, then someone will start working with you on what your actual needs are, right?
Correct. And basically, you know, it prompts some different things. Sometimes that's going to be an inspection. Sometimes that's going to be a request for more information. I want everyone to know that sometimes those letters that request more information are not totally easy to understand, but that's often just what we need is more information.
We've been telling our viewers and those who've been affected that if you have insurance, go ahead and file an insurance claim.
Exactly.
Right. Why is that important?
Well, it's important because by law, FEMA cannot duplicate insurance benefits. So if you have to, you know, file that claim and then, as I said, get back to us. When you have that, you know, what they give back to you or what they say they're going to give back to you, that's documentation that you may need to share with FEMA so that we can see what, you know, what help you're eligible for.
All right. Well, again, the process to complete recovery is a lengthy one, but it starts with filing the paperwork. Give us the website address again, and we'll put the number up again.
DisasterAssistance.gov.
Okay.
FEMA, if you forget that, FEMA.gov has links.
That's good.
And then again, 800-621-3362. The people there are going to take their time and take your information.
All right. Thank you so much. We appreciate the information. I have a feeling we'll be seeing a lot more of you over the next several weeks for sure.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much, Gerard Hamnick from the Federal Emergency Management Agency. All right, coming up, getting the most out of your space. We'll show you how just ahead on Mid Morning. Welcome back, everyone. More Americans are squeezing into smaller spaces. A new survey from Rent Cafe finds the average size of an apartment is down more than 50 square feet compared to a decade ago. But new robotic furniture technology is already helping some people use every square inch. Bradley Blackburn explains.
Like so many, architect Eric Biber now works from home, but his home works for him in a remarkable way. With the push of a button, his office becomes a bedroom.
You wake up, you bring the bed up, you get to work? Pretty much, yeah. It's pretty simple like that.
Biber and his wife Salome were invited to test a cloud bed from Brooklyn-based startup Ori.
The back of the couch becomes the headboard.
CEO Asier Larea started the company more than a decade ago when he was at MIT.
We like to think about the concept of transforming a space.
Their expandable apartments are powered by robotic furniture that can unfold into a walk-in closet or slide to unveil a home office.
The robotics also have built-in safety features. Just 20 pounds of pressure, say from 2 or 3 fingers, are enough to pause it and then send it moving back up.
More companies are building shape-shifting furniture as apartment sizes shrink. New apartments average just 887 square feet, according to a Rent Cafe survey.
Definitely feels like we're living in the future.
Ori sells directly to the developers of more than 50 apartment buildings around the country. Larea says units can be just 350 square feet, so tenants pay lower rents without losing function.
We are in more than 1,000 apartments across the country, from New York to San Francisco, but also from Fort Worth to Boise.
Making more from less with some high-tech help. Bradley Blackburn, CBS News, New York.
The company doesn't sell their robotic furniture direct to consumers yet, but it expects to in the future. One investor in the company is IKEA, and they've also announced a partnership with Marriott Hotels. All right, research shows more than half of the energy we use at home comes from heating and air conditioning, which can drive up power bills in a hurry. But across the pond in the UK, engineers are busy building homes of the future inside a climate lab to help cut costs and save the environment. CBS's Ian Lee has that story from Manchester, England.
It's an energy experiment all about extremes, whether it's weather or the novelty of engineers building 2 houses inside a warehouse.
There's only one of these in the world.
The goal at Energy House 2.0 is to punish properties on the outside while keeping things comfortable inside.
Do these buildings work today under very deep winter conditions, very hot summer conditions, and everywhere in between?
Everything about the project at the University of Salford in England is state-of-the-art.
If it gets over a certain temperature, the curtains will shut and the ventilation will kick in.
to mirrors that double as infrared heaters and lighter weight walls that are more energy efficient.
Traditionally in the UK, it would be about 2 foot wide. So you've halved the amount of room you're going to take, but actually the insulation level is still the same.
For months, wild weather and extreme temperatures batter the homes, while hundreds of sensors keep tabs on heat loss from the windows to the walls and doors to floors.
We have to change the way that we build our homes, make them far more efficient in terms of carbon, energy, cost effectiveness to run.
Researchers are also looking at creative ways to raise the temperature, but not your electric bill.
Adding things like air source heat pumps, infrared heating, under very controlled conditions, so that hopefully our results can have significant impact.
A significant impact on the planet and your wallet. Ian Lee, CBS News, Manchester, England.
House engineers say inside that research warehouse they can recreate snow, rain, gale force winds, and the movement of the sun in temperatures ranging from 4 below zero up to 104 degrees. All right, this month the Fed raised interest rates for a 9th consecutive time. That means higher borrowing costs for you. So what do you do now with your money, whether you're an investor, saver, or a borrower? Shelley Malashki has more in today's Consumer Watch.
With banking failures making headlines and the Fed raising interest rates,
good afternoon,
investors and borrowers are feeling a little jittery, wondering how it could all impact their savings, loans, credit cards, and investments.
When it comes to rising interest rates, it's all about the debt. It's the liabilities that you have.
So what are some ways to position your hard-earned money to get the most out of those soaring rates, but also protect yourself from the higher costs? The first thing first, experts say tackle credit card debt. So get on a plan to pay off what you owe soon before higher rates kick in.
If you've got credit card debt, it's going to cost you more. It's going to cost you more now and in the near future.
It's going to put a lot of financial pressure on an increasing number of households going forward.
If you're looking to buy a home or refinance, higher interest rates could mean banks could make borrowing requirements stricter. Experts say get to work on locking the lowest fixed rate now. Also consider investing in Series I savings bonds. Experts recommend them because it's an inflation-protected asset and offers a safe return. But it has some limitations. Among them, you can't invest more than $10,000 a year and can't redeem your bond in the first year. But act quickly. You only have until the end of April to buy and get the current 6.89% rate.
If you've got emergency money parked somewhere making less than 1%, you might think about buying an I-bond.
Experts say it's good news for savers. Bankrate suggests putting your savings in online high-yield savings accounts. Some are now offering rates as high as 5%. For Consumer Watch, I'm Shelley Malashi.
From forest floor to indoor, a hobby turns into much more ahead on Mid Morning. Welcome back. Recently, the U.S. Forest Service announced a plan to clear millions of dead trees from California forests. It's part of a plan to fight wildfires. Elizabeth Kling looks at a very different local effort with the same goal in mind.
Hidden on the edge of the Tahoe Forest, North San Juan is a quiet place. But lately, Colin Davis and his crew at Tahoe Slab are making some noise.
The immediate gratification is when you're milling. It's beautiful. It really feels like you're finding art.
What started as a woodworking hobby
and it slowly got out of control
is now a full-time 8-person operation, transforming trashed trees.
This is some English walnut from an orchard in Wheatland, California.
Into useful treasures.
Our goal is to utilize all of this wood, which otherwise is either being ground up, left to rot, or lit on fire.
But turning freshly cut pieces of walnut and cedar into impressive dining tables and beautiful paneling is a process.
Trees are often more than 50% water, and slabs have to dry out before they can be turned into furniture. Usually it takes about a year of air drying for every inch of thickness.
For Tahoe Slab's growing customer base, though, the wait is worth it and is part of a movement more meaningful than meets the eye.
There's a lot of work to do and not enough time to get to it.
Stacy Caldwell with the Tahoe Truckee Community Foundation says mounting piles of dead trees in the forest present a major wildfire risk that can no longer be ignored.
There was one time an estimate of over 800,000 piles of wood sitting in our forests. Some as small as a VW bus, others as large as a hotel ballroom. It's really stunning.
Clearing it all out, she says, is going to require more creativity.
What can we do this inventory, if you will? Can we turn it into energy and heat? Can we turn it into alternative biofuels? Can we turn it into boutique industries like Tahoe Slab?
If we can, turn it into smoke and ash, or we can build a house out of it, I think building a house is a more meaningful thing for society.
Carving a path to build a brighter future for our society and for our forests. Elizabeth Kling, CBS News, North San Juan, California.
Well, for 2,000 years, no one has been able to prove the Pythagorean theorem using trigonometry. Now, 2 high school students from New Orleans East think they've cracked it. Sam Winstrom shows us how.
It takes a special kind of student to outsmart 2,000 years of mathematicians. At St. Mary's Academy, they have 2.
It's an unparalleled feeling, honestly, because there's just nothing like it, being able to do something that people don't think that young people can do.
Kelsey Johnson and Nakia Jackson just gave a presentation at the American Mathematical Society's annual Southeastern Conference. They say they've proven that Pythagoras' theorem can be proved without circular trigonometry, and it might not surprise you to hear that they were the only high schoolers in the room.
You don't see kids like us doing this. It's usually like you have to be an adult to do this.
Now, if you're anything like me, math is not your best subject, so we're both going to do a little refresher on this one. Now, it starts with trigonometry, and trigonometry is based on Pythagorean theorem, a squared plus b squared equals c squared. That all sounds familiar, right? Now, what they did, and that they said couldn't be done, is that Pythagorean theorem could not be proved using trigonometry. That is what is known as circular logic. An idea can't prove itself. But what Kelsey and Nakia did is that they were able to prove Pythagoras' theorem without using circular logic, but they did use trigonometry. And if you're wondering how 2 high school seniors figured something like this out, well, it all starts with the teachers who challenged them to do the impossible.
Yeah, like our slogan is no excellence without hard labor, so they definitely push on that.
And we have really great teachers.
And even if you don't understand their math, it's easy to see that with the right push, students can do the impossible. Sam Winstrom, Eyewitness News.
And both girls are set to graduate from St. Mary's Academy this spring. They weren't able to announce where they will go to school, but said they plan to chase careers in environmental engineering and biochemistry. All right, singers, songwriters, and bands will show you why they are all in Austin next on Mid-Morning. Welcome back. CBS will host this year's CMT Music Awards Sunday, held for the first time in Austin, Texas. Wendy Gillette is there with a preview of how the city will welcome the award ceremony.
Austin resident and country Americana singer-songwriter Rob Baird performed this past weekend in his home city, known as the live music capital of the world. He moved here from Memphis in 2010.
Austin's changed, I think, in a lot of ways, but also stayed the same. Like, obviously, the Saxon Pub is still here.
Saxon Pub is where Baird played his first Austin show, an iconic fixture of the city's music scene.
You name it, we've seen it, in every genre, but basically, we do 3 to 4 bands a night every night here for 33 years.
Over at Anton's nightclub, open since 1975, blues rock guitarist Paul Val took the stage Saturday night, as twirling dancers filled the floor at the Broken Spoke Honky Tonk, now almost 60 years old.
We have over 200 live music venue establishments and performance spaces in Austin.
Here in downtown Austin, the city pays tribute in several ways to a legend known for his own brand of country music. singer and songwriter Willie Nelson. And this weekend, Austin will welcome country music's greats, including Blake Shelton, Lainey Wilson, Keith Urban, and Carrie Underwood for the CMT Music Awards at the Moody Center.
The venue just opened last April. It's a beautiful facility hosting concerts, sporting events, professional bull riding. It's going to be a fun event.
I think they're going to love it down here.
Boutique Hotel Zaza is gearing up, offering a special Cowboys and Caviar package, which includes a Longhorn Denali ride to the event. We stayed for special rates there and at the new Lauren Hotel at Lady Bird Lake.
It's one of the only luxury hotels south of the lake with beautiful downtown views, morning or night.
Hungry guests can chow down on brisket at Cooper's Old Time Pit Barbecue or go upscale at Garrison inside the Fairmont. Flame-grilled steaks will help any visitor feel like a cowboy, especially if they don a new pair of Tecovas handmade boots. Wendy Gillette, CBS News, Austin.
The CMT Music Awards will air live on WCBI this Sunday night at 7 o'clock. All right, so here's the story about a pioneer, not a person, but a building that has a prominent role as we honor Women's History Month. Here's CBS's Jamie Yukas.
This LA landmark opened 6 years after women won the right to vote.
How mind-boggling is it to you to go back and think that there was a time where women couldn't check into a hotel on their own?
Oh, I know. It was built to be a place for professional women.
Not just for women, but totally financed and built by women. This trailblazing group opened up the Hotel Figueroa in 1926, when almost every other hotel prevented women from getting a room, unless they were accompanied by a man. In the lobby hangs a painting of the founder, Maud Bolden.
She rode across the country on a motorcycle to take her first job here.
What a badass.
Yes. She's incredible. She's an inspiration to us all.
General Manager Connie Wang says 97 years later, almost everything is exactly as it was.
We wanted to make sure that it still had a very strong sense of time and place.
Even the smallest detail, a bookcase.
And you push it.
With a secret passageway.
This whole space was a writer's salon.
Then there's the swimming pool.
Rumor has it that it was built in the shape of a coffin to bury the patriarchy.
When you think about that.
Well, I just think it's hilarious.
Every piece of art, from small prints to this massive mural, created by women.
We continue to embrace women in art just like they did back in the 1920s and 30s.
Wing says many guests come for the hotel's charm, unaware of its history.
It was started in 1926 as one of the first hotels where women could check in without a chaperone.
Oh, wow. A living monument to true pioneers. Jamie Yukas, CBS News.
Stay with us. We'll be right back to wrap things up. All right, be sure you stay connected with us. We'd love to hear from you. We'll see you back here next time.